everyone. Today is Webinar Wednesday, and I'm really excited to share with you Michael Sheargold from Australia, you guys. I've learned so much from this webinar. I cannot wait to share it with you. So I hope you enjoy.
So hey guys, everybody welcome from around the world, and specifically from around the world with Coldwell Banker. Welcome. We have a great speaker today, and Todd, go ahead. You're on, man.
Well, yeah, I think first things first, right? Like we've got the blog members and the mob members and the Blue Ocean Group members, and I just first of all want to say thank you for all of the leaders that are on this call. This stuff doesn't happen unless everybody gets together and they start making phone calls and they can get people like Michael to say, hey, yeah, I'll have a conversation with those folks. And so again, a special shout out, of course, to you, Peter and Chuck, right out there in Tennessee with our very own Sean Blankenship, and of course, Perdell and Gregory, Mike Carter, like all of you all, thank you so much. Did I forget Chuck? I think I forgot the birthday boy himself. Happy birthday, Chuck. Listen, I think, actually I know that nobody has traveled farther than this guy is traveling to us today to speak to us. And I've had the opportunity to meet Michael Sheargold some time back. He's my brother from a different mother. Absolutely love this guy. Of all of these people in our lives, I was just talking, Michael, you'll love this. I was just talking to the boys as we were coming back to the house to prepare for this, and they're like, Michael's gonna be on, all right? So absolutely love Michael. He's an incredible spirit. He's a great human being. I know it doesn't look like it, but he's been coaching for more than 20 years. He's got over 10,000 sessions. This guy is the coach to some of the absolute #1 real estate companies in the world, but also the #1 teams and individual agents. What I love about Michael is he has this incredible ability to sort of look at the complex and bring it down into something that even I can internalize, but he speaks to the right person. So when he's speaking to me as an owner, I really understand. When he's speaking to real estate agents, they really understand. It's really a gift. So very, very excited to have Michael here. I am gonna put him on the spot. You'll find out that I'm gonna razz him just a little bit. I'm going to see if we might be able to get some commitments out of him that post-COVID, we might actually get him to come across the sea to get to the United States. We'll see if we can guilt him into that. But Michael, you're in Australia. I know everybody's going to be asking, so I'm just going to, before you even start putting in the chat box, where are you? What are you doing? What's going on down under?
Well, Todd, first of all, thanks so much for you and Peter for organizing this, and it's a awesome chance to be able to come across and see you guys. So look, just congratulations on putting this together and making it happen. So we're on the Gold Coast at the moment. So we're very fortunate, and Todd, you've been to our place on the Gold Coast. So we're in sort of a virtual lockdown as such. But you know, the amount of Zoom calls and connections I've got with clients at the moment is quite awesome. And I think, you know, one of the things that comes out of anything like this is, well, okay, where's the gift in this? Where's the opportunity coming out of it? And I know anyone who's tuned into you guys, even though there's a lot of twists and turns that are coming, and like pretty much every day, if not every week, there is a change in what great agents in the Australian marketplace and the New Zealand marketplace can and can't do. And it's the ability for them to respond to that. So normally we're living in Sydney, but right now up at our place on the Gold Coast.
Love it. And I know there's one other question. Everybody's wondering, why is Peter the only one that's not wearing the right shirt? I don't really understand that either, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah. Listen, I want to just touch on one thing real quickly for those people that don't understand the Australian real estate market. One of the most noticeable or largest differentiations between the real estate market there versus the real estate market here is that in the United States, we have both representation for buyers and sellers. And one of the real reasons that I wanted to have you on to talk to the US based, especially real estate agents, is because we're in a major inventory shortage. And we need listings. And if there was ever a time to make a decision to be a listing broker, now would be the time, because buyers are not hard to come by. you're uniquely positioned, because that's like, in order to make it in Australia in real estate, that's it, baby. You do listings. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So it's in the Australian marketplace, he or she that controls the listing will actually win. It's just that simple. So we don't have a multi-list system as you do in the US, where I list it, it goes onto a multi-list, and any agent can actually sell it. So the listing agent or the listing agency, the listing company, is the company that actually sells the product.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, guys, remember, you have the chat box, right? So you can heckle and you can talk about Peter not wearing the right shirt in the chat box. In the Q&A box is where you type in your questions, and we'll make sure we get to those questions, and we'll stop periodically. Michael, so coaching, tens of thousands of sessions. You also put on some incredible events. Any chance we might be able to get you to do any of those events stateside?
Man, that's amazing. I thought you were going to ask me that towards the end of the session, not at the beginning of the session.
Oh no, I'm gonna. It's like torture therapy. I'm just gonna drip.
Yeah. I love your work. I love your work. You ever thought of being in sales? I think this could be a great profession for you to take on board. So guys, I've got some slides here, Peter, to run through. I'm assuming I've got access to be able to pop those up to get started. What I thought would be really neat is for you guys to jump in whenever you want to as we go through this. But I thought it would be great is some of the great agents who have pivoted beautifully in the Australian marketplace and New Zealand marketplace that I've got the great pleasure of coaching. I thought I'd share with you some of the key strategies that we're going through with them that can make it happen. I think it seems like the Aussie government and the economic issues, we've actually shut down probably faster than a lot of other countries. So slowed the spread as such of all the health and safety issues. But what has happened with that is there's been a need to reposition and refocus the businesses. So I thought I'd just run through a whole series of really cool ideas to make that happen. And I think, Amy, you just might need to allow me to share my screen. And just zoom that on.
Peter, can you give him authority, or Amy, can you give him authority to share a screen, please?
Here we go. Thank you kindly, guys. So if there is at any stage the lack of clarity or that doesn't make sense, you guys just jump in and zoom through it. The first thing is, this is one of my favorite key quick win upgrades for you to put into your dialogue. And that is just start using the word strategy. So we have open homes. No, we have an open home strategy. We have a buyer engagement plan. No, we have a buyer engagement strategy. We have a marketing, we're going to put some advertising out. No, we're going to have a marketing strategy for you. We're great at negotiating. No, we have a negotiation strategy. So simply by adding the word strategy to the front end of everything you do, I guarantee you'll upgrade the quality of your dialogue and how it lands in a client's eyes. And look, one of the things that Peter, I'm really focused on is how do we make sure the dialogue lands brilliantly well from a client point of view. What I will say is this is alive and well at the moment within real estate, and that is a confused mind stalls. So if I've got a level of confusion, it'll look like I'm being lazy. It'll look like I'm procrastinating, but in actual fact, I am just confused. So anyone who's out there who's listening into this and saying, you know what, I feel like I'm being a bit lazy. I feel like I'm procrastinating. In actual fact, it just might be that you actually got this level of confusion going on. So what I want to do today, and hopefully guys will achieve this, is to turn down the noise and turn up the focus on what is it going to what do you need to do to actually make a difference. Now, one of the key things that I'm putting in place with all of my clients is a 30-day plan. Not a 12-month plan, not a 6-month plan, not even a 90-day plan, a 30-day plan. So the best outcome coming out of today is if you guys could go and turn around and say, okay, what is my 30-day plan? And by the way, there are only 3 key headings I'd love you to take on board with this. The first one is what are the priorities? So, key priorities would be the first heading. So you want to write this down right now, guys. So you've got it as a structure as we go through this. So number one, key priorities. Awesome. So in the next 30 days, what are the key priorities? And by the way, I think you ought to have both personal and business there as to what are the key priorities. Second is, then what are the projects that will actually drive those key priorities? Is there 1, 2, or 3 projects that I can put on board? And Todd, you remember this from the conference you came to in Sydney, is I'm a fantastic believer of less things implemented better will always outperform a lot of things implemented poorly. So what are those few key projects that you're going to put in place? And then the final one is your action plan. So what are the things I need to be in massive action with that'll actually produce the best result possible? So 30-day plan, 30-day plan, 30-day plan. Given that, one of the big things that we're talking about with our clients is this concept of what is it you can control, what is it you can influence, and then what's outside of your control and outside of your influence. And this is one of our key coaching models. And as simple as this is, and Todd, I'm sure your guys have actually seen or heard something similar to this before. Everything that we're going to go through today is going to be either in your control or in your influence. And yeah, it's not to say don't be concerned with what's happening that's outside your control or outside your influence. But the most powerful agents in the marketplace right now, the most powerful leaders, are looking at and saying, what can I control? What can I influence? And as soon as you get clear on that center, you become super, super focused. An exercise that I'll do, and I might just jump out to show you this, is out of today, guys, I guarantee you're going to have a list of can do and a list of can't do. This is my electronic whiteboard, by the way, guys, just here. Can do and can't do. You love it? And quite simply, what we've had, Peter, in the Australian marketplace is things have been moving between these two. So, I can't do that. Actually, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. No, I can't do that. So what we've seen happen is a lot of the time people are focused, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. So we're stalling because we can't do those things, as opposed to I'm saying, well, hang on a check, what can you do? Oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Well, focus on putting those things in place and making a difference. Clearly, one of the things that we've talked about a lot, there are 2 kinds of calls we need to make to clients at the moment. The first kind of calls are care calls, is Care Connects. And I'm sure you guys are doing a whole series of those, which is literally a check-in to see how you're going. The second kind of call is a value call. And we had a really strong 2 weeks of panic in the Australian marketplace. No question about it. Like, what's going to happen? Is this the end of the world? Is what's going to occur here? So in that mode, if you were to actually contact someone for a value call, guarantee it was like, you were being opportunistic in that moment. If you contacted someone as a care call, you were being empathetic, you were being connected, and it elevated your position as an agent in the marketplace. So can do, yes, absolutely do the value calls, but just make sure they're backed up, or they start with a care call. How are you going? Where are you at? And then move from there into this mode of, well, okay, how do we actually deliver value in the process? Todd, I don't know, anything you want to say on that, or any key points?
I think Peter muted me because he knew I wanted to talk. So I would just ask this. So we've been in this now for about 10 weeks. We spent the first probably 30 to 45 days really in the care calls, right? Really focused in on just connecting with people from humanity's perspective. I think if I'm seeing something, and I actually spent a little bit of time in the office this morning, and as I was walking through the office, it's still very deserted, right? We're not quite open, but it was very interesting to me to have conversations with people, and there were two very different conversations going on. You've got the people who really, they just never stopped working. They were connecting with people from an empathetic perspective, but they have been able to make the transition into that value piece that you're talking about. And then there are some other people that are just really struggling. They just don't feel authentic. They don't feel like that it's the right message for them. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to guess as to really what they're feeling that's keeping them from that. My sense is that they're continuing to get stuck in the areas that they can control, right? That aren't theirs. What are you telling people?
Yeah, so Todd, this is a really interesting point. I had an agent in the New Zealand marketplace that had quite a level of guilt going on because they basically took a holiday and they went into sort of self-protection, hibernation kind of mode. And therefore they're sort of coming out of this and then they're not knowing what to do. A bit of confused mind stalls. But the most important thing I said to them is, today is the first day of the rest of your real estate career. What you have or haven't done over the last month, 6 weeks, turn the page, put that in the background. And I remember sort of years and years ago as a little tacker, does little tacker compute?
No.
No, okay.
No, I'm writing it down though, because it's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, okay. A little tacker is a kid. So Peter, think I'm between 8 and 10 years old. And we had these really cool books in Australia that when you hear the word like this, bong, turn the page. So, you know, it was cassette tapes in those days. You put the cassette in, boom, you'd listen to it. And when you hear this, bong, turn the page. So you'd literally turn the page. And what I think a lot of agents need to do is turn the page on this and you open up to a brand new page. It doesn't matter what you have and haven't done. I mean, if you have done some great stuff in the last month, 6 weeks, you get a huge thumbs up. If you haven't, you get a thumbs up as well, because today is the first day of the rest of your real estate career. Your 30-day plan can be as strong as anyone else's 30-day plan just by actually getting into go mode with it. And sure, you might need to start by doing some care calls, but pretty quickly you can move to value calls because the market has shifted. I mean, read your play, read your marketplace, read your clients, and also even per state, probably, Peter, this differs a little bit at the moment, you know, what you can do and what you can't do. So just make it relevant for you as to where you're at. But as soon as he did that, and I said, look, just grab hold of the guilt you've got right now and throw it. Because it was actually guilt getting in the way, Peter. So I was guilty that I haven't done what I know I should be doing. It's done. Let it go. Today's the first day of the rest of your real estate career.
I love that.
So based on that, guys, what I've put together is some key strategies, some frameworks to be able to help you move forward, including some what I'm calling cut-through dialogue. I talk about karate chops along those lines. I do believe right strategies, great mindset is going to achieve the best outcome right now. So, and once again, back to control. Can I control my strategies that I'm applying? The answer is yes. Can I control my mindset? Absolutely yes. It'll achieve the best outcome. So just get focused in terms of today into bringing those two into, can I control this? Can I influence this? How do I actually capitalize on it? Okay. Next is being informed, not overwhelmed. This is a biggie because a lot of the clients that my agents are working with are in an overwhelmed situation. And back to Todd, your point right up front is stock is on the short side. It is easier for me, and I think the next one here, where is it? Where is it? Hang on. I'm going to bring it up for you. Yeah, this one. If confidence is missing, people will not act. So right now, it is easier for me, if I'm thinking of selling my property, not to actually go to market than to go to market. Now, one of the amazing things about this business, unlike an ice cream shop or something along those lines, a gelato store has actually hasn't stockpiled their business. They're not going to see a flurry of activity coming in after this. The 3,000 scoops that they haven't served, it's not like next month they're going to have another 3,000 scoops. It's gone. It's out. Radio's lost revenue. It's just gone. You can't stockpile radio revenue. So what we're seeing here with this is, with real estate, it's stockpiled. But the thing that I'm talking about with my clients is, how do you instill confidence in your particular buyers? How do you instill confidence in your sellers? And I think one of the key things that I'm going to go through today with you is a series of super practical grabs that will allow you to actually take that on board. In fact, Peter, should we go through the grabs first and then go back and backfill some of the other components so the guys get some specific dialogues? What do you think?
Let's do it.
Hey, just real quick, Michael. So with regard to the slides, yes, the slides are available. You can connect with Michael _Sheargold on Instagram. Is that your preferred platform, Michael?
I think if you just jump onto michael@michaelsheargold.com, the web address here, two things. There's some cool tools that the guys can download. So straight away, and I will, over the next week, anyone who comes from the US marketplace called Banker, I'll make sure you also get the slide pack, and I'll send it through to you guys as well. So you've got it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it.
So let me just go to this framework here, guys. I've got this my cool new Mac that has the ability. Okay, power language. So this is what our guys are doing right now to get business across the line. The first important point, if the guys want to make a note of this, is be the client's source of knowledge. So if there is a level of overwhelm in the marketplace, we've got to be the ones that inform them, not overwhelm them. So therefore, and look, it's fair to say in the Aussie marketplace, the assumption that sellers are making is no one's buying, nothing is selling, therefore why should I even consider coming to market? That's the mode that they're in. So we need to be the voice of reason, giving them perspective, giving them insight, giving them perspective as to, well, what is selling and what's actually occurred. That would be sharing a case study. That would be putting in a perspective as to, well, this is the number of properties on the market this year compared to the number of properties on the market last year. There is some buyer demand. In fact, there's significant buyer demand right now. A property similar to yours that we took to market last week, we saw this level of activity. Now, this is all a big part, Peter, of actually creating confidence in me as a buyer. And one of the things, I know you had Sharon here a week or two ago, with video, my biggest tip on video, guys, is the last 3 conversations you've had with buyers and or sellers, I guarantee there is a video for you to do immediately after that. So I've just finished. I just put the phone down from this particular person. That's interesting. There's a bit of a theme here. I've mentioned this over the last 3 calls. I've mentioned this twice. Bang, straight away, get the camera out and go, hey, I've just had some conversation with some clients and I wanted to give you this first-hand information as to what we're seeing in the marketplace. So some power language. The first one is to use the term market dynamics. I'd love to share with you the market dynamics we're seeing at play at the moment in the marketplace. So as soon as we start talking market dynamics, people are going, well, okay, I'm interested in what's happening in terms of market dynamics. The second one here is our ultimate goal is to elevate your property. So one of the reasons you'll be with Coldwell Banker, one of the reasons you'll be choosing me as your agent is to ensure that we can elevate your property in the marketplace. The next one is, let's take a look at the current intel. Now, this word intel is so simple yet so important. I'd like to share with you the current intel in the marketplace. Let me actually run through this. Now, what you might do, from a social media, I'm big on a pull strategy, not just a push strategy. So not putting everything out there saying, hey, if you would like to know some more depth about the market intel, I'd love to actually have a chat with you with the current intel we've got as to what's happening in the marketplace. And by the way, a lot of my clients have shifted from we've sold this many homes to we have helped these 7 people over the last 4 weeks move. So talk more about the humanistic side right now than actually I've sold a property. Actually, we've helped this many people. We've supported this many people on their property journey at this point in time. Strategy, we spoke about that earlier. Get the word strategy into your conversation. Next is crystal ball. A lot of people, and we're talking about pipeline. Peter, is pipeline something pretty consistent over there in terms of listing pipeline?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect,
yeah.
Perfect.
Talk the same language.
Yeah, perfect. So we're talking at the moment about a now pipeline an L2 pipeline, so a lockdown level 2, and believe it or not, we actually are talking about a 2021 pipeline. So right now, have you had any thoughts of selling or any property plans? Even if you don't use or add the word now, me as a client think you're actually asking me now. But if you actually change it around and say, any property plans at the moment that I should be aware of, well, I don't think now's the right time in the marketplace. Well, I really like the line, you could be right. Okay, you could be right that now may not be the right time. However, from a crystal ball point of view, whilst neither of us have a crystal ball, what I do know is, here's what we're seeing right at the moment. If I look at the market dynamics that exist at this point in time, if we have a look at the current intel, it would suggest that right now is a fantastic to elevate your property. And when you're dealing with a professional such as us, who's got the right strategy and the right approach to be able to all of a sudden you're creating this shift. And I'm okay that our business generation strategy is not about finding listings, it's about finding listing opportunities. It's actually about finding someone who is going to list their property in the future. And if we can bring them forward, then great. Now, the simplest way, if you've got L2 pipeline, which is a pipeline for, say, 2 or 3 months away, the simplest way to challenge them is and no doubt you guys know this, but the strategy here is called hypothetical. Hypothetically. So, Todd, if I had an apple right now, would you want one? Now, I don't have an apple, right? But if I did have an apple, would you want one? So the beautiful thing about a hypothetical, I don't have to have a buyer right now for your property. I could say, if I did have the buyer right now, would you actually bring your decision forward? If you didn't have to go through a full marketing campaign and we could actually achieve a result for you in a shorter time frame, would you actually consider bringing your decision forward? So suppose would you, or if would you? And from a hypothetical point of view, guys, the impact that's had on bringing business forward for our clients in the Aussie marketplace is significant. So, by the way, every time you speak with your pipeline, you can't turn around and say, suppose would you, suppose would you, suppose would you. But if you utilize it on the occasional basis, or we've just sold this property, we've had 2 buyers who are left over, they are in the mode where they are buyers who can perform. We are utilizing that term, buyers who can perform at the moment, and that means they have the capability, in other words, finance, and they have the desire. So capability and desire really make a buyer who can perform. I'd love to actually see what we can do to secure. Next is, here's what we know. Here's what we know right now. Like literally, this is what we know. So whilst we don't have a crystal ball, here's what we know right now. Is it the property or the price? So this is on the buying side, and what we're seeing at the moment is the interesting thing is, Todd, we've had our great agents go back over buyers who are active in the marketplace from September last year to right up until the sort of start of lockdown and so on. And what they've uncovered is a whole series of HBs, hot buyers, first point. They've also uncovered people who were turning up to open homes or engaged in the marketplace out of doing research to see where their property sits in the marketplace. So all of a sudden, the number of VIP appraisals that are actually on the increase based on that particular strategy is huge. Now, obviously, once again, you connect in to say you came through a property of ours, or you inquired about a property of ours in February this year, in September last year. We're going through and updating, just making sure that we've got everything covered. By the way, there were a couple of people who were thinking about selling back then, and we'd just love to actually organise a VIP appraisal to make sure you're up to date with where it's at. Have you already sold your place? Oh, you haven't. Okay, well, let's see what we can actually do. Now, this is all, roll the sleeves up and get in and do it, and all totally in your control. Next is, what's your best outcome? So I think sometimes we get caught into the mode of saying, oh no, I'm not going to sell until then. So we get a when-then kind of scenario. So just, could you level with me? What's your best outcome? What's your big plan here? What is it that you're actually wanting to achieve? I love this. I just had to pop this one in. Power language is, what are you thinking your first offer will be? Now, as simple as this is, guys, bring this into your listing as well. And when you're with a client from a listing point of view, I believe your negotiation framework should be a huge, huge key with this. And Peter, it'd be fair to say, if we look at the people who are tuned in and listening, most of the guys have been through a set of market dynamics that exist like this before, e.g. GFC, e.g. Something else that has happened in our regional marketplace that has actually had a hiccup in terms of what's happened sales volume wise. You want to bring that into play into your listing appointment right now and say, hey, one of the most important things that you need right now is someone who has an experience to be able to negotiate in these particular circumstances. There's no order taking right now. It's actually about deal making. It's actually about making sure you've got someone who can play the matchmaker and negotiate on your behalf. Let me just give you a really simple example. One of the things that we do is when someone's ready to put an offer on the property, we don't simply just ask what's your offer going to be. We give them some background information as to why this property represents exceptional buying at the full asking price. But importantly, what we also do is we ask, what are you thinking your first offer is going to be? Now, what that does, it sets the scene for where we head to from here. Love this. You found it. You love it. Why not own it? And as simple as this is as dialogue, so often people move from the point of view of saying, well, actually, yeah, why don't I own it? Pretty simple. And it's looking like there are three options from here. And going through that two options, that three options, and starting to see how people actually put these things into play and go through that. So Todd, I don't know if you want to actually comment on any of these or go through it.
No, I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
No, I think I started this whole thing off with just saying one of the talents that you have is this ability to sort of put dialogue, whether you're speaking to me as an owner or an agent, or you're helping us talk to our clients. And this is a prime example, this idea of power language. These are all things that we inherently know need to be done. But if you are somebody out there that has been struggling with what to say, this is it right here. You're going to want to watch this over again. And you're going to want to integrate this, whether it be into your listing presentations or whether it just be into your phone calls that you're calling and having conversations with people. Because again, these are very specific to things that you have influence over, that you have control of, and will get the conversation moving forward. And I think so many of us have been sort of paralyzed at that. And for those of you who are not paralyzed, I don't know about you, but just, and maybe it's geographical, there's just enough nuance difference here in the way that he's framed some of these things, that it's a game-changing differentiator if you will integrate some of these things into your current strategy. So love it, love it, love it. By the way, you will be able to, we record these, you guys know that. So obviously you can see them on Facebook. You can also go to cbdistinctive.com/webinars and all of the recordings are there. So you'll be able to rewatch it.
So Todd, a couple of things that I did want to do today is just to step back and talk about what I'm seeing in terms of the average agent and the elite agent that exists in the market. So go through and give you a structure around these two guys, and then I thought I'd wrap it with talking about what I think from a listing point of view can really make a massive difference. Okay. So average agent and elite agent. There's a lot here, so make sure if you're watching this, just take a pic of this. Don't attempt to write it down. There's a lot in here. With the average agent right now, basically they're looking for less problems. They're doing what they feel like. They've got this level of confusion and uncertainty. They think they already know it all. They have a sense of entitlement. This is my marketplace. I should be getting these listings. How come? They tend to criticize others. They're holding grudges. They're talking about people. They're waiting for it to happen. Not sure what that is, Peter. They're a diminisher with some negative energy floating around. They fear change. They avoid goals. They have no plan, and they're an order taker. Congratulations. Guess what? There is nothing left at the moment for an average agent. Why? Because the elite agent is getting out there. They're looking for better skills, not less problems. They're willing to do what it takes. And this is a big distinction, guys, that I talk about with our clients, and it's feel versus do. And we get caught in this is over and over again, guys, that, and let's talk about gym. Okay, let's talk about a gym workout. And by the way, I'm doing a gym workout after this. It's 5 a.m. by the way, when we started this in the Aussie marketplace. So I don't feel like going to gym. So therefore, what do? I don't go to gym. So we've let the feel override the do. Yet I've got a goal out here in my future to say, I want to be fit and healthy, right? Fabulous, fantastic. I want to see some abs. I want to see this out here in the future. So I've let the feel override the do. Now, here's the thing. If you've got a listing appointment, I'm guarantee you don't let the feel override the do. You'll do the listing appointment. If you've got a buyer showing, guarantee you will do the buyer showing. So it's not a case of I don't feel like doing it, I'm not going to do it. But let me bring prospecting in. Let me bring some client nurturing. Let me bring doing a live video or doing a video around what's happening in the marketplace. I don't feel like that. Not my best self right now, so I don't do it. And what happens is we've let the feel override the do. Average agents let the feel override the do. Back to this, right? With fitness. I don't feel like doing it, so I don't do the gym workout. Well, guess what? Afterwards, I now feel lousy because I haven't honored the commitment that I have to actually get to my fitness goals. It's like, oh, it's a double whammy. So let's take this into play. It's not a case that I don't feel like doing prospecting today. I don't feel like doing connecting calls today. So I'm not going to do those. So therefore, I don't do it. But then I guarantee sometime during that day or that evening, when you go home to family and friends and you say, so how was your day? You start to actually go into this nasty neggy where I don't feel good that I didn't do the things I know that will actually align to this. So one of the things that I see the best agents do is they apply a simple strategy called thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So in other words, thank you for sharing is I'm going to actually park. I don't feel like doing it. It's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. So, and Todd, one of my favorite sayings around this, let the motion create the emotion. So in other words, a lot of people are waiting for the perfect emotional state to be in. The average agent does this. I'm not feeling it. Well, I'm not doing it. As opposed to, no, get in and do it. And then we'll actually kick it into gear. I'm okay if your first 2 calls of the day, by the way, I do believe you should apply worst first in your day. What's the worst thing I need to do today? Let me do that first. It actually changes your energy straight away. I don't feel like doing the worst thing. Doesn't matter, Peter. You're going to do the worst thing. What's worst first? Bang, get it done. But as soon as you do that, you might do 2 or 3 warm-up calls just to get you into go mode, but do the things that will actually make a difference. This is such a game changer as to how you operate. I don't feel like doing it. I'm not going to do it. Just do it, right? On a sporting team doesn't feel like going out and playing the game of their life. They go and play the game of their life. So just back to this framework to wrap up is, a sense of gratitude, compliments others, forgives others. I mean, the 3 of us have never made a mistake, so why should anyone else, kind of thing. Instead of waiting for it to happen, making it happen, really is an amplifier with positive energy, seeing it from that point of view, embracing change, which everyone has had to do, set some goals, works the plan, and is a deal maker. Hello, I'm a deal maker. And people should know that that's actually occurring and putting this in play. So I don't know if you guys want to share anything around this particular point. This is a key framework. And I've seen agents when they see this, Peter, go, OMG, I didn't realize I am playing a lot of average behaviors here, but I'm wanting elite results. And like, dude, if you're playing average behaviors around these kind of things, and even the grudge, I can't believe it. I've held a grudge for someone else in my office for the last 2 years. How's that working for you? Oh, it's not. Let it go. Like, literally grab it and let it go. It's gone. Focus on being an elite agent. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you jump into this and embrace this, by the way, every one of these, this has got nothing to do with how long I've been in business for. It's got nothing to do with my age, with my experience, with my background, with da-da-da-da-da. This has got with a choice that you're going to make today, your 30-day plan, what you're going to put in place as to your priorities, your projects, and your actions that you're going to take around making it happen. And all of this is in your control. It's absolutely in your control. Now, you can't control what a buyer might say or what a seller might say, but you can actually control whether you make the call. You can influence them based on the quality of your dialogue to really kick it into gear. So guys, I'm not sure if you want to.
This slide, like I'm stealing the slide just openly. I'm just R&Ding it. It's now mine. I'll give you credit. That's a brilliant slide.
I already sent that out to
that.
the entire company, Todd. So
right, yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing. And by the way, I love the thank you for sharing, because so much of what we do is we kind of have to get ourselves revved up, prepared to take on the day, to eat that frog, and that self-dialogue of thank you for sharing. That is so great. Thank you for sharing, but we're going to do this anyway, because this is what elite agents do. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Awesome. So given that, guys, we talked about this. If confidence is missing, people will not act. How long have we got now, guys? Just to give me a sense.
As much time as you want.
Yeah. All total 20 minutes if you want it.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we go through quickly what I class as the number ones. So this is a nice little framework to make sure your head's in the game around producing the best results possible. So we'll cover the number one resource, the number one driver, the number one activity, the number one skill, and the number one focus that you need to have in the market right now. Now, we could, if we had time, we'd then do a little workshop and say, right now, okay, what do you think is the number one resource? What's the number one driver, and so on. For the sake of time, let's just jump in and share these. Your number one resource as an agent is time. It is the number one, right? You're going to put somewhere around 2,500 hours in the next 12 months into your real estate business. That's a huge number of hours. That's a shed load of hours, guys. So if you're going to put that many hours in, I think you should expect a fantastic return on investment. The number one driver are leads. There's no question, is leads. So what am I doing today to drive leads? I don't feel like doing it. Excuse me, it doesn't matter how you feel, it matters what you do. So all of a sudden you're in this mode of, okay, what am I doing and how many leads per day will actually deliver this? And this is a combination of different sources depending on where your business is at as to how to drive that. Number one activity is connecting. Now, I could have put prospecting there, I could have put nurturing there, but in actual fact, it's actually simply about connecting. And one of the things that Todd, I've changed in our accountability system with agents is not how many calls you made, how many connected conversations did you have? Because a lot of people getting confused, they were just making calls and they were, that dialing for dollars, but they didn't have anything meaningful coming out of this. So as opposed to flipping it around and saying, no, let's make sure you're connecting. How many connected conversations are you going to have today? So I don't care how many people you spoke with, how many connected conversations did you have that you somehow moved it forward. And a little distinction that we have here is, and this is fantastic for all those people who potentially are thinking about selling, is you either on your calls have an advancement or you have a continuation. Now, an advancement means as a result of this conversation, I've actually advanced my thinking. I've advanced this client. I've moved this client from being someone who's coming on the market with some agent at some point in time in the future to they are coming on the market later, not now, but they're coming on the market with me. That's advancement. That's moving it closer to you. Advancement might be, playing the suppose would you game, the hypothetical. Hey, I know you were talking about selling later on in the year. Out of interest, if I did have a buyer who could perform in today's marketplace, would you consider bringing that decision forward? You and I don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the property market is going to do. The market dynamics that exist at the moment are absolutely superb for someone thinking of selling. And by the way, it means you're going to be cashed up to take advantage of the market down the track. This is about connecting. This is about having connected conversations, advancing. Number one skill is negotiating. So at the listing appointment, you're negotiating, will you choose me to actually sell your property? So you're actually a participant in the negotiation there, and you move to an advisor when you're actually working with buyers and sellers. So it's understanding what mode you're in, but negotiating. Like literally, I want to do business with you, not because you're a good marketer. I expect you to be a good marketer. So one of the things that we're saying is, look, I could spend a lot of time talking about how great we are at marketing, but to be honest with you, if an agent doesn't have the ability to, actually I wouldn't say to be honest with you, but I just said it then. If an agent doesn't have the ability to put a good marketing program together for your property, I don't think they have the right to be sitting in front of you. So what you've done is the agent that goes in and does a marketing strategy, you've just bombed them out of the way. Now, One of the things we talk about in our agent coaching is don't dump on a competitor, but bomb them all you like, right? So the simple distinction between dumping and bombing. Dumping is they're terrible. There's no way. Oh gosh, they're terrible. That's dumping on them, and you'll find you'll lose business because you're dumping on a competitor. But bombing them, this is something that they can actually. You might drop a little landmine as you walk through the property. You might over a Zoom call put a little hand grenade in there or something along those lines that they fall into beautifully. And this is based on, once again, not market intel, competitor intel to know what bombs you can put in place for competitors. E.g., a super simple example could be that, hey, yeah, look, they actually had some really good market share 12 or 18 months ago. What have they got now? You just leave it, right? Yeah, look, they're really good at selling condos and apartments. Yeah. Let's talk about your home, right? So and assuming their home wasn't a condo or an apartment. So you start to create this distinction where you're shifting this. Bombing on competitors, thumbs up. Dumping, thumbs down. So this is your negotiation framework. And the final one here is your number one focus is contributing. How do I make a difference? So I'm sitting in front of someone. How do I actually contribute? How do I make a difference? Now, the reality is, Todd, for your guys, what's a good number of transactions per year? Number of listings per year.
Yeah, so two different markets. We have both, excuse me, the traditional markets, and we've got resort markets. So obviously, if you're selling in Vail and Edwards and Steamboat and Sun Valley and Telluride, to do 12 to 15 transactions, you're doing $20-30 million in sales. The other markets, you're probably going to need to do 50 sites.
Yeah, cool. And Peter, for you?
We're probably along the same lines as Todd.
Yeah, okay, cool. So around that, one of the things that I look at is if you look at the number of conversations that you're going to have, connected conversations, versus the number of transactions you're going to have, the number of conversations is incredibly broad compared to the number of transactions. So if we have built in, and remember this agent I work with, his name's Frank, and Frank, when the market went back 34%, his business grew by 20%. Okay, excuse me, that shouldn't happen, right? Market's back, you should be back. No. Market's back 34% in volume, he's up 20% year on year. So I sat down and said, Frank, what happened? What did you do? He says, well, Michael, I took your advice. Okay, what advice was it? He said, well, you said to me, last year, I was looking for the 2 in 10 opportunities. So everyone would come towards him and he would say, are you one of the two? Are you one of the two? So he was quite discerning whether he would contribute to that person or not based on, could you actually, are you the one that can do something for me right now? Almost. I said, okay, interesting. So how did you change your strategy? I saw every single person as an opportunity. I saw every single person I interact with as an opportunity. So every time I connected, number one activity, I actually focused on the number one thing, which is contributing. And all of a sudden that changed his business. And the beautiful thing about real estate, the beautiful thing that I fundamentally love about this, we don't know who you know. So you just don't know if your best buddy's with. You don't know if you're going to a dinner party. You don't know if you're going to the pub and having a beer. You don't know if you're sitting at the hairdresser having a chat with someone. You don't know if you're picking up the kids and you're sitting with someone. You don't know who that person knows. So all of a sudden, simply by shifting that contribution, it massively shifted how he operated. So if your number one focus is contribution, it means, Peter, you're in front of me. How can I contribute? How can I make a difference? And that probably isn't going to be a listing or a sale right now. Right? Now, if you come to me, you turn up and say, hello, I'd like to buy this property. My number one contribution is helping you secure this property and getting and moving forward. But if I think about it, out of the 2,500 hours, guys, I'm going to put into my real estate business in the next 12 months. And I'm if I list say 20 or 30 properties, I'm doing exceptionally well, right? You put that into perspective, you go, okay, cool. There's a lot of conversations that aren't about the listing now or selling now. So therefore, if I shift it to contributing, makes a massive, massive difference.
There might be a couple of books that were written about that too, huh? Any books come to mind? Like, it's not who you know, it's not just who you know, it's not, yeah. I mean, it's brilliant.
You
Love
know,
it.
there's
Love
you know, there's the Ford concept that I'm sure you guys have coached in with the guys. You know, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. It's connecting in with that, and starting to actually care about people. And it's that whole line: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, which is great. One more
what
thing.
A great framework.
Yeah, one more thing that for us to do, other than the number ones, is to share a little bit about what I see is needed at the listing appointment. Now, clearly, the best agents are setting up well and truly before the listing appointment as to how they're performing at the listing appointment. But you know, ultimately, there are four kinds of listing.
So, can you say that again? So, clearly, what?
Okay, clearly, the best agents are setting up their success at a listing appointment before the listing appointment.
Right,
okay?
so that's that translation. They're putting the time and effort into preparing so that when they get there, they're operating at the highest level.
Yes, and if I've had someone in my pipeline for 2 months, I've done such a great job of value adding in that process. I may have had competition 2 months ago. I'm now the only agent actually there because I've done such a great job of differentiating along the way. And I talk about the difference, you know, everyone talks about point of difference. I talk about point of value. Point of difference is attached to us. Todd, point of value is attached to the client. So how do we shift my difference to value to you in that process? So point of value is key. And our simple strategy here that I coach in a program called Sales Bootcamp is, if the client can say, so what, we're not at a value point yet. We're Cornwall Banker, so what, right? We sell a lot of properties in the marketplace, so what? We're not at the value point yet. We think we are, but we're actually just bragging. So we're going to shift it from a brag to an inform and an educate that allows people, it can land in such a way that's actually contributing to people powerfully.
That's brilliant.
So have we got time just to go through that structure from a listing point of view? Peter? Yep, great, excellent. Let me bring it up. I might need to.
Hey guys, in the chat box, like, I know Michael's bringing so much information here. Like, this is crazy. He's basically giving us a boot camp in an hour. But in the chat box, thumbs up. What do you think? Like, is this powerful stuff? Is this stuff that's going to make a difference as you move forward into post-COVID?
Todd and Mike, I can tell you I'm getting text messages. Last one I just got was love this guy. So they're loving what you're saying.
Well, I love you guys. I love you guys. So it's awesome. And Todd, can you give me some coaching afterwards as to anything that didn't translate?
Of course.
Like, you know, the little tacker. Okay, note to self. Yeah, I need to explain what a little tacker is. It was a mini me. So, okay, 3 sales at the listing. Now, to me, this is a structure, and if there was ever a time for you to play the reinvent game in your business, it's now. This is the gift that this is given. And look, you can either use this time in the next 30 days. I would recommend that if you can, in the next 30 days, transform your listing into a 2021 listing appointment. You are going to do an early release of your 2021 listing appointment. Like, where did that come from? Now, I used to race motocross, and one of the things that all of the, you know, Suzuki, Yamaha, and so on would release their next year's model before it got to next year. Car makers do that too. Here's the 2021 model. I'd love you to be in the mode of I'm going to do an early release of my 2021 listing appointment. Not I'm rehashing my old listing appointment. So this is an opportunity, I think, for you to explore, experiment, and do some work on Zoom with some colleagues around how do you actually take this to the next level. Keep in mind The work you've done before has a big impact. I was going to mention, Todd, before, there are 4 kinds of listing appointments that you'll do in your real estate career. Let's jump out of this for a moment. So the first kind of listing appointment that you're going to do is a repeat client. We love repeat clients, and the listing appointment is pretty casual typically because they've already chosen you. They know they want to do business with you. That's the first one. The second is a referral from an existing client. And I've seen a lot of great agents miss referral business, but the reason they're missing referral business, Peter, and it's so obvious to put this in place, but they brought too much of their repeat client into the referral, and they just find them a little bit too casual. So that casualness that we had with the repeat client, what we've got to do is start with, hey, what a great guy Peter is. Yeah. Oh, would you know Pete? Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to school with him. Boom, 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 boom. Along those lines. And then what we've got to do is play something very simple called the reset. So we chat, and then we go reset. We don't literally say reset, but we think reset. And the reset is, hey, I know I've been referred to you by Peter, but what I want to make sure is everything we cover off here, on in this particular situation in helping you with your move is of a confidential nature. I'm focused on giving you the absolute best advice and you having an amazing professional experience of me. So you actually take it away from that casual and you say, I'd like to bring it now into a professional situation. So repeat client, referral, a contact relationship. Todd, I know you from the gym, but I really don't know you as a real estate agent. I know you are a real estate agent, but I don't know you as a real estate agent. So it's a contact relationship. So that contact relationship, once again, is, or it might be on the sidelines, little Frankie, little Johnny kicked the winning goal at the under 10s football match. So, hey, how cool was that? So we go, how good was the game on Saturday watching the kids kick the goal? Then we go reset. Hey, look, I know, Todd, you know me as a dad on the sidelines cheering on the kids. What it's really important for you, from my point of view, is that you have an absolute professional experience in terms of selling your property. I give you the best advice, and it's of a highly confidential nature. The confidential is super important there, Peter, because hang on, you're at soccer on the weekend with me. Hang on, you know this person. What are you going to share with them? So that confidential piece. So they're the resets, and the final one is a new contact. Is someone you've met new, and now you're actually in there to present. Clearly, the more profile you have in the marketplace, the less new you are. But what I'm going to do is give you a structure that'll help you win new business, and then you'd soften it for contact, you'd soften it for repeat, you'd soften it for a referral, obviously. What I will say though, occasionally a repeat client, we're too casual, we haven't given them, say, hey, I thought I'd give you a quick update. Here's the market intel we've got right now, or here are the market dynamics. Thought it'd be useful just to share those with you. Okay, so the 3 sales. The first one, I need to be sold on you. Second one, your agency. And the third one, your plan, your recommendation, your strategy. So that's the structure that we go through. In terms of you, the 3 things for you is having positive rapport. I'm not going to list with you if I don't like you, if I don't sort of, trust you and respect what you're about. The belief in you. So the number one thing I talk about there, Todd, is the number one thing you do at a listing appointment is belief transfer, is believe that you're the right agent for the job and transfer that belief to that particular client. And the final thing is your credibility. What gives you the right to be sitting in front of me to sell my particular property? Now, if there's some new agents listening in here, Peter, we move from a me credibility to a we credibility. Here's what we've done as a business. Here's where we're at. Here's what we're doing. But ultimately, you could do a listing critique, and I do between 2 and 4 listing critiques per month. And that is a great agent who's already doing great things sends me their listing appointment, a video, not a live one, a role play one. And then I go through a critique process and have a look, firstly, how well they're delivering on you, your rapport strategies, your belief transfer, and the way you're demonstrating and communicating credibility. Next one here, guys, is from an agency point of view.
So Michael, there's a bunch of people that just passed out. They're like, what? they role played their listing presentation, they recorded it, and they sent it to your coach. What? Yes. Remember the slide, average versus elite.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, Todd, the fascinating thing is, Cirque du Soleil, we see them all around the world. Every Cirque show everywhere in the world is recorded every single night, every night. And there is a crew sitting back there who's watching the actual performance, and they're seeing the level of precision that occurs with that. Now, their life and death. And if something goes wrong in a Cirque show, timing's out, something is really out in a major way. We're a little bit more casual. We'll go out and wing it. We'll just give it a go and see how we go. But the challenge with that is we've got one chance to do this right. We have 10 of these that don't go well for us. That can be, like what's average fee? And I know your markets are different.
Well, it's catastrophic. We were talking about, if in a market like Telluride, you need to do 15 transactions, you mess up 10 of them or don't get the at bat, even worse. It's a game changer. You're done.
Well, and I look at it from 15 to 25. There's a little bit more earning potential in that. So all of a sudden you start to look at it and say, oh, okay. And look, I've had agents come back to our client's office and say, hey, how'd you go? Oh, really good. I think they like me. It's like, excellent. They like you. Did you get the listing? No. It's like, what's the go? Have you forgotten the main name of the game in the process? So absolutely, guys, all I would do is, and by the way, Todd, on this, quite often I get the third recording sent to me. They'd record the first one and say, I'm not sending this through to Sheargold. Second recording, probably not. Third one, okay, I actually get to see it. But, I've added, there's one agent in the Melbourne marketplace, added 250K to his earning potential, not by increasing his number of leads coming in, by increasing the conversion of those particular leads. And by the way, he was a great agent. So it was just tweaking it. And what was interesting, Todd, he had the ingredients, he was just baking the cake the wrong way. So if you put the eggs in after you take the cake out of the oven, it ain't going to work that well. You got to put it in at the right time. So sometimes it's just the syntax, the order of it that needs to shift. All right, I'll do this and then we'll wrap. So from an agency point of view, it's the capability of the agency, it's the approach we have to doing business, and it's the value that we actually are able to deliver as an agency. So once again, point of value, you've got to actually have these go from you and your agency, your plan, and have them attached to me as the client. So I go, man, if I don't list with you, firstly, I don't get you, right? I don't get who you are and what you stand for and what you're all about. Secondly, I don't get Coldwell Banker. I don't get you guys as an agency. Far out. I don't get your capability, your approach, your value. And then the final thing is, I don't get your plan. Now, this is interesting. For the first time in my 2 decades of coaching in real estate, safety is now an issue at the listing appointment, okay? If you don't cover safety, I can almost guarantee you're not going to win the business. Here's how we're handling the health and safety of you, your family, right? And the clients who actually we are working with. They've got to know that. You've got to have that in play. Secondly, here's our buyer-centric strategy. And the final thing from a plan point of view, and here's how we're going to negotiate in this particular marketplace to ensure we get you the highest price the market's willing to pay. Now, most of my clients, Peter, have changed away from getting you the premium price or a record sale price, because even though we're seeing some good results coming through, they're not record sale prices in that marketplace. So rather than landing in that hole, we're going to get you the highest price the market's willing to pay. We're going to get you the premium price in today's marketplace along those lines. So it used to be security in an open home and so on. Now it's health and safety from that point of view. Security's still in there, but health and safety, lead with that. Here's how we're going to make sure that you're safe and everyone else is safe in the process. Buyer-centric, our entire strategy is geared around buyers. Why? Anyone can tell you about how great their marketing plan is and just put that nice little bomb in place. What I prefer to talk, that's a given. You're dealing with Coldwell Banker, that's a given for us to have an impressive marketing plan in place. the number one thing that I'd like to talk with you about is how we're engaging, how we're educating, and our buyer-centric strategy right now that's causing us to have a shorter days on market, achieving this along those lines. And that would be the framework that I'd focus in on, guys.
Holy smokes, Peter. I mean, listen, y'all are going to have to watch this 4 times. And really there were 4, as I counted them, maybe 5 very specific areas in there. One started off with this whole idea of mindset and making sure that you get your mind wrapped around the stuff that you can influence, letting the other stuff go. I thought that was awesome. This idea of repackaging your world from a strategic thinking standpoint versus just all of the details. I loved the power language. Super awesome stuff. I love the number ones. As we talk about coaching and all of us that are trying to get better, whether you are working one-on-one with a coach or whether or not your coach doesn't know your name and you're watching them online through podcasts or what have you, everybody has a framework that they're teaching around. I loved the number ones. And then, that last piece about just really making sure that people understood the process that your clients need to go through in order for them to choose you, and then not only choose you, but refer you down the line. Really, really great stuff. Peter, you got anything for Mr. Sheargold here?
Man, I just appreciate you spending so much time and going over and crushing it with value. Thank you. I think for me, I felt like you were talking to me of getting the worst thing done first. I think for me, I need to put that in practice. I'm sure there are a lot of us watching that need that as well. And then also not thinking about what you can't do, but think about what you can do. I think from an owner's perspective, a manager's perspective, an agent's perspective, if you can shift that in your head to think about what you can do, that's huge. Because if you don't believe in yourself and you don't think you can do stuff, then you're not gonna be able to do any of this. So it's very helpful.
And Peter, just a little tip on that. When you start applying worst first, just put W1 down beside that particular person or kind of thing, because someone will come and say, hang on, what's this W1? You are my win number 1 for the day. Yeah?
So Todd, on my phone, I just got to change his name to W1 Conquer.
I love it.
Awesome.
And guys, I'd love you to connect in michaelsheargold.com on Facebook. If you jump in on Facebook, I do a morning live. It will be an afternoon live for you guys. But I'd just love to support you guys. And in my DNA is value creation and helping people move from continuation to advancement. So guys, thanks for organizing this. And it's so awesome that one of the things that have come out of this whole health and safety and economic issue is we're doing things like this. We're connecting in a way. Todd, we spoke about doing this, and all of a sudden here we are putting this in place and adding value to each other's communities and moving things forward, which is great.
Yeah, it really is amazing. So again, you guys, if you want to connect with him, michaelsheargold.com. He is on Instagram at Michael_Sheargold. He's all on Facebook. If you need some help connecting, I'm happy to do it. Find me. You will see the recording on cbdistinctive.com/webinars. Of course, it's all over Facebook because it was live streaming there. If you will connect with Michael on his website, he'll get you the slides. I think this is one of those things we're going to have to watch multiple times. I have to ask the question because I noticed that you didn't answer it when I asked it earlier. What are the chances that we're going to get the one and only Michael Sheargold to the United States to do a little bit of a tour with your, boot camp? I don't know. Maybe it's an all new one for the States.
So Todd, I would love to come over and do some really cool things.
Guys.
And one of the things that I love working with is great agents, great leaders.
Are gonna have to find out later if Michael is coming to America. Go to michaelsheargold.com and find out. Hopefully he'll have it scheduled soon. I hope you found value in this webinar. I know I did, and I really hope you enjoyed it. You have a fantastic evening.